In this video I will give you an introduction to dynamic stubs. So stubs are containers for other maps, and as we can see here we have 3 stubs, but they're static stubs. You can create a dynamic stub by just dragging it from or selecting the tool in the palette, but what I'll do is I'll take a static stub and I will change its stub kind here to dynamic. Don't pay attention to the other stub kinds. They're more advanced stub types, and you can enable those by enabling the advanced mode. But for now, what I'm going to do is just go back down into my stub here, and I think that this implementation of playing is too complex. Maybe I just want something very simple. So I'll right click in the background and I'll say add use case map, and I'll call this have fun simple. And what I'll do is I'll create a start point, end point. So start and end. And I will create a responsibility. Whoops, and I'll call it have fun. That's it. Maybe I'll choose that it's the customer that has fun though. I'll just add this little bit here. Bind all enclosed elements. Again, I'm binding after the fact, but if I had something outside of here, now it's not bound, but as soon as you move something inside of it, it becomes bound. So the only reason I need to bind all enclosed elements is because I'm adding it after the fact. So that's going to be my simple implementation. So if I go back to the top level, I can right click on my stub, my dynamic stub, click on edit stub plugins. So a plugin map is another map which is included inside a stub. So we can see now that have fun is selected. I'll also select have fun simple. In the middle is what we've got bound, and we can see that we have, for the complex one, we've bound the first input to start and the first output to leave. So I'll do the same thing for our simple implementation. I'll bind input 1 with start point and output 1 with the endpoint. There's only one, so it's fairly easy, and I'll hit close here. Now I've bound both implementations, so if I click here, I can choose which one I want to open. So I'll open the simple one. However, the inverse is automatic because there's only one possible parent. The next thing we need to do is choose which implementation we're using. So I'll go into variables here, and I'll create a new Boolean variable. And I'll call it, I'll choose variable here, is simplified fun, for example. So I've got my Boolean variable, and I've created it manually just to show you how you initialize it in other places. So I've got my 3 scenarios, and let's say I want both cache and normal, or by default I want the simple implementation. So I'll open initializations. I'll right click here, initialize variables, and is simplified fun is not chosen yet, so I'll say true in here. True. So is simplified fun is true in the normal scenario. So because it's included in the other scenarios, that means it's true everywhere, but I'll overwrite that and inform that session is over. So in here I can see it's true. Maybe I'll just refresh this to add it there. So is simplified fun is true. I can change it to false. Oops. Or maybe because it's I'll just right click here and initialize variables. It's now false. I don't want the simplified implementation here, so we can see it overrode it there. And we need to go back into edit stub plugins, and in here for each different binding, so this is the complex fun, I'll say complex fun as the label. The expression is our familiar code editor, so is simplified fun equals false. Instead of, let's write it explicitly, is simplified fun equals false. And have fun simple, I'll say simple fun with is simplified fun double equals true, because we want to open that if this variable is true. Hit OK, and we're ready to run our scenarios. So I'll run my normal scenario, so just select it, click enable here. We see the top level map goes through have fun, double click on that, and we have our simplified fun. Now if we click on the endpoint here, double click on it, we come back to the top level map, and that's all there is to it. However, if we switch to inform that the session is over, we drill down, it's now the complex fun. We can still look at the simplified fun and see it's not being executed, but the scenarios here are connected. So I can go back up here to the top level map. So that's how you create dynamic stubs.